Okay, so this week's class is looking at the Orders Manager. And the Orders Manager, if I open it up, there it is a way of associating quotations, purchase orders, batches, and invoices all against an order. So last week's class I looked at invoicing just as a standalone, but this week we're going to look at how you can just collate all the information relating to one customer under an order record, and it might actually relate to a specific order number. So what I'll do is I'll create a record and I'll show you the different functionality as we go along. So if I click on load record, didn't want load records, new record, and the first thing I'm going to do is select a customer. Obviously orders are always for customers, so this field is shown in red to show you it's mandatory. I've got a lovely selection of customers here. Let's have Chiltern Foods. Blogs and company get everywhere. Okay, so if you actually have a specific order number, you can type it in, otherwise it'll be system generated. So it's the same functionality as in other parts of the system. So I'll put in order. And if you wanted to put a discount in here that applies, you can type one in manually, but I'm not going to bother. Save changes. Looks like Chiltern Foods doesn't actually have a delivery or invoice address against it. If I choose a different customer, we will get Blogs and Company after all. If I click on these, I can actually select from the entered addresses for that customer. So I'll change to Blogs. Okay, so the top is just description. It's everything that ties the order together. So if you negotiate with a customer over the course of 12 months, they want all their work invoicing against a particular order number, and because they've agreed to put all their work with you for 12 months, you give them a discount. You can put that in there. And you can enter other information. I don't think I've got any contacts in my customer. If I click on that, it's not going to come up with anything. No, okay. So if you have previously created a quotation for this customer, if I click on Add Quotation, it looks up from my existing quotations which are status A, because obviously you might have some quotations that are still in the stage of being prepared, but these are the ones that have been prepared and approved. So I'm going to add that one. I'm not sure what's on that one. Next. And we're quoting for 100 off testing of paracetamol tablets. So highlight that. Continue. So that's added to my order. So I can then add other quotations. If I add another quotation, previous, and the reason I'm adding this one is I know this one's got multiple lines. I could actually say we've quoted for appearance testing and paracetamol tablets testing, but we don't actually want to add them both to the invoice. The customer said, thank you for the quote. We'll have one item, but we won't have the other one. So I can just highlight one. I can select all, select none, or I can just select one. And is it going to let me add it? Oh, it isn't. Oh, that's annoying. I think that's because I might have previously added it to another order. But the idea is, anyway, I've shown you that you can just cherry pick the quotation lines. You don't have to have all of the quotation lines, so I should cancel that for now. So we have our quotation added. I can edit this as well. I can say, I only said the quantity, I've said 100. Actually, they've said they'd like it at that price, please, but they only want 75. So I edit that. And the amounts are edited accordingly for the order, so it's keeping a track. If I click on Add New Order Line, I get a choice of methods, materials, or miscellaneous charges. So this is similar to quotation and invoicing in that you can add individual items. So if I go to add material, We've got paracetamol tablets already, so we'll add PVC blister, whatever that might be, and we'll have 5 of those. Finish. Okay, because we've added PVC blister, which is a material, if I go to order details, it's showing me, in fact I've got 2 lots of paracetamol tablets in there because I added 2, that's a material as well added from the quotation. You can associate a specific batch of testing with the material that you've added to your quotation, not your quotation, your order. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go to the batch manager. I'll create a new record, and it's for customer blogs and co. Save changes. We have the option to click on order number, and it will look up orders which have got a status of O, which means the order is open. And we'll see we've only got one in here, which is order number 002. So if I go back to my orders record, I'm actually creating this new one. I'd have to advance the status before it looks up. So what I'll do is I'll go to load records, or we'll have a look at that one. Go to order details, and you can see in here that I've associated the things that I've added to specific batches. So in other words, I'll go back to my new batch again. I'll show you this when I've actually changed the status to O. But when you advance the status in the batch manager, you can look up in here, and having looked up in there, the batch that you associate with the order then appears in this batch ID here. So I've just got a couple more things to show you in here. So order lines we were adding. Why has it gone grey? Oh, it's definitely doing strange things to me today. Hang on a minute. Load up records all. This is what happens when you go out and in again. It has a funny day. I think this is just a screen refresh thing because my PC is actually running quite slowly at the moment. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll set that to status O. Save changes. So now, if I go back to Batch Manager, look it up, it shows me both of them. So I go to Blogs and Co, which is that one I've just created. Select. Save changes. I go back to my orders record. I'm going to have to reload this to get the data, I think. All. Have a little look in order details, and it's added them. It's associated both of them with that batch number. I know why it's done that. Ha! I missed something out. I should have selected my material here. Sorry, I should have said it's only paracetamol tablets. I don't think it'll do it retrospectively. That's why it's associated both the order records with the batch. But anyway, I'm confusing myself. In the batch manager, you can select an order number. It will show you a list of order numbers for your selected customer. If you have remembered to select material, it will apply that batch ID to the material that you selected. Because I didn't select the material, it's applied it to both of them. But basically, that batch ID is now associated with this order. So later on, when you're creating invoices for your customer, you can add the order to the invoice, and it will pull in the batch information as well, in the same way that it's going to pull in this financial information. So you can drag it all together and associate it with the order number. Now, where have I got to? Okay, I did mention invoicing, so if I go, I've got another tab with the home page open, so if I go to Invoicing Manager, and I create a new record for Blogs and Co. Save changes. I have the option to insert an order into here. I must actually go to my order and say it's complete, because otherwise you can't invoice on ones that are open or new. It actually has to be status C for it to appear in here. So if I click on insert order, it shows me my orders which are status complete. That's the one I was looking at. Next. It's brought in the values from our orders record, so we've got the values there. It's dragged them in. My finish button is not going live. Oh, I know, I have to select them all. Finish. Save changes. So now we have an invoice number and we have the information dragged in from that order. If we'd added other stuff to the order, that would also be added to the invoice as well. I remembered one thing I've not shown you. I've not shown you purchase orders. Let's create a new record. Different customer. Go back to Chiltern Foods. Save changes. So if you wanted to keep records of purchase orders that have come from your customer, the simplest model is you just say add a new customer purchase order and type in your purchase order number that's come from your customer. So I don't know. And value £1,500, description, I don't know, whatever. I'm not in a very creative mood. Continue. Okay, but this value will now be added, or it's kept a record of that associated with that, sorry. If I go to order lines and I add a new order line and I say we'll have test and we'll have 10 of those. Save changes. So what I did before was I've added my purchase order and I've just typed in a value and I've said this purchase order has come in, here's the value. So that's the simple model. We've now associated that purchase order with our new order. Why have I not got an order number? Did I not click on new record? If I go to order lines and I add order lines, if I edit the order line, we have an option here to look up purchase orders. So if I click on purchase order, if I hadn't put a value in my purchase order, I could just click on that, select. So what I'm saying is 10 of this test, which is just amusingly called test, is associated with this purchase order number. I better save my changes. So if I edit that and say I'll take that value out, because actually I'm not actually putting the data in that way. What I'm doing is I'm saying here's the purchase order, should have created a new one, and it's associated with this particular test, so the cost is going to come in from there instead. So let's have a little think about this. So we've got quick recap, new order. It's always got to be for a particular customer. Save changes. You can add quotations which you've previously created. So here's a quotation for customer twofold software. So I'll add that. If you've got quotations with more than one line, you can say I only actually want to have one of those lines. Double click. Is it going to let me add them one at a time? Something up with that. It's only letting me select all at the moment. It should let me select one or the other. Continue anyway. So you can add a quotation. You can add individual methods. So if I add friability, you can say how many of those methods have been added to the, are associated with this. So I'll say we've done 25 of that test. There's other descriptive information in here. Finish. Save changes. You can add methods, you can add material, which obviously, as you know, is a group of methods. You can add a miscellaneous charge. So we've got express service, ad hoc charge. These are all managed in the miscellaneous charges manager. Cancel. You can add a purchase order PO1, which you can give a value to. You can add a purchase order PO2, which you don't give a value to, because what you want to do is associate it to a particular record. So if I associate it with that one, in fact, there we are, purchase order number PO2. If your order is status open, if you create a batch, so I'll create a new record for that customer, twofold software, and I've forgotten what the materials are in there, paracetamol tablets again. So if I click on material paracetamol tablets, save changes, I can look up all the orders which are status O, and I've forgotten what the order number was, 6. Where was I? Batch manager. 6. Save changes. In the orders, it then associates that. Oops, I need to reload this, I think, probably. I've forgotten which one it was now. It must be the last one, twofold software, it's that one. Okay, so it's now associated that batch, so here's my batch number 8, it's associated it with that order. So, so we've got quotations associated, we've got purchase orders, either just plain ones where we just type in a value, or associated with lines. So if you quote somebody for some work, you can then associate the purchase order they send you with that quotation. If you associate it with the batch, then the batch gets associated in as well. And finally, if you create an invoice for that customer, twofold software, and I keep forgetting, if your order is status C for complete, you can then click on insert order and it will show you that order, and you can then add that to your invoice. The lines from the order get automatically added, or they should do. I'm clicking and getting ahead of myself here, I think. And then you can invoice against that order. Select all, come on. Select all, that's what I didn't do. Save changes, and then we've got a standard template for an invoice which can be edited, which will take this information and the total, put it on an invoice form, click on this, print it off, and send it to your customer. Okay, I'm going to stop recording this and I shall stay online if you've got any questions, because this was a bit of a quick gallop through it.